Yes, people, welcome back to Never a Foul. You know what we do, talking all things football. Make sure you like this video. Make sure you subscribe. Let us know your thoughts in the comments because we're talking about the big game from the weekend. Yes, the Premier League is back and it was Chelsea,
I
Arsenal
thought we were
on the
going to talk on
weekend.
Nottingham and Luton.
Great comeback.
Yeah, I was going to go to that game as well, you know.
Oh, that'd have been sick.
I was thinking, what do I do? Do I come home? Do I get an Uber? Or do I go to the Nottingham-Luton game? And I thought Nottingham-Luton minging that.
Yeah, 2-0 down to come back, get a 2-0. Big up the locals. Love that. They might not stay up, but they're showing more than the other promoted teams. Put it that way.
Who was it?
Showing more than Man United.
Yeah, they're showing fight.
Daz said yesterday about that he thinks Luton are going to get the least points ever in Premier League history. I was like, of the three promoted clubs, they're outperforming the other
100%.
two.
I thought they were going to struggle.
How many points have they got so far? 4?
5, yeah.
4 or 5.
Yeah, they've won, and I think they've got 2 draws. But yeah, man, interesting start to the Premier League in the bottom half of the table. But the top of the table is where it matters for the big teams. You've got Arsenal, you've got Man City, you've got Liverpool, and you've got Tottenham all competing in the top 4 at the moment as the highest ranked clubs. But this weekend saw Chelsea draw 2-2 with Arsenal. Now, people have had their opinions of the game. I think my first question to get this underway, should I say, is who's come out of this game better? Chelsea being 2-0 up and getting a draw against Arsenal, or Arsenal being 2-0 down, earning a draw when they've put in one of their stinkiest displays of the season? I thought it was a tough question to start with.
Yeah, it is a tough question because there's multiple answers.
Yeah.
There's no right or wrong answer,
Yeah, there isn't.
Not one.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah, so I'm just gonna I don't know if this ain't being biased. This is just being honest. Obviously, Chelsea's come out that better. They're gonna feel hurt by that one. You know, a bit like Liverpool game, which is I've seen some fans go towards a little bit, as in say, but they done this against Liverpool as well. Liverpool didn't play well against them. Well, currently you're not Liverpool, you're Arsenal, mate. You're trying to win the league, so why are we doing them comparisons?
So Liverpool, to be fair.
Yeah. So, but the thing is, this time out, I think most of us expected Arsenal to win. Some of us didn't write off Chelsea completely and said it will be a good game. Some were saying Chelsea were going to win this objectively, when it was not objectives at that point, to be fair. But of course, if you're going to feel Arsenal, if you're an Arsenal fan, you're going to be like, what the hell's gone on here? That will tell you everything you need to know about the game as well, like firsthand. And by the time at the end of this video, hey, we probably convince people and even convince ourselves more or less that Chelsea have definitely come out better because of what they got coming up, right?
Yeah. It's funny because I said on the preview that I can't see how Chelsea get anything out of this. I want Chelsea to get something out of it. If you before the game, if you tried to break down how Chelsea gets something out of it, you struggle.
Yeah,
right?
Didn't even have a striker, went with a false 9. Yeah.
I said, but it's not, this is football. And I don't know what I see because I don't know how. I wanted a Cole Palmer goal. I got a Cole Palmer goal. But I think that, right, from Arsenal's point of view, you are right. It's a bad performance and they got a point out of it, right? So on that, but it's not one where I'd say, like, one whole time Mario, he said to me, you know, that's a performance of champions. Now, performance of champions, no, it's not. A performance of champions turn it into a win. What? They don't turn it into a draw. Like, it's that simple, yeah? I get it, fighting back, 100%, right? But if I'm being honest watching the game, I feel like that wasn't I don't think it was a fight back, you know? Because at times, I've seen Arsenal fight back, right?
Yeah. Like the Bournemouth game last year when they were 2-0 down, come back and won 3-2.
That was a
crowd
fight
spinning.
back.
Yeah.
Like, even when they got the first, they still weren't pushing for the second. I feel like Chelsea had a solid 65 minutes.
Yeah.
Right?
I agree with that.
And then they just looked tired.
Yeah.
Right? And I will give Arteta credit.
The substitute.
Off the bench,
that
man.
was
And
the game changer.
Do you know what it is, right?
Substitutions made the difference.
Seems to be this thing that I'm a big Trossard fan. People say that, yeah, but Trossard's better off the bench, right?
I'll clock your fans off.
But Martinelli off the bench against us worked. It seems to be whoever the left winger is that comes off the bench impacts the game, right? And for me, I do think wingers are the position that can come on the pitch and really impact the game.
100%.
Because when the game is stretched, Yeah, there's more space for wingers to.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was a weird one from Arsenal because when we looked at how Chelsea could get something out of it, we were thinking of maybe the Arsenal you'd seen about against City. That yes, don't make too many chances, but were so solid defensively. Whereas yesterday that wasn't there, and. And Chelsea looked, I mean, yesterday again, Daz on the stream was trying to say Chelsea didn't play well. They did play well.
Yeah, they
Chelsea
did.
looked very
Yeah,
fluid.
no, I've seen
in
that a couple
midfield.
times. Bav said it as well.
Nah,
They're putting out the
Look,
graphs and
this is the
all
thing.
that crap.
I don't get that. It's after the game. You don't need to slander the team you have played, yeah?
Yeah.
You can just speak on the game. And if you speak on the game, Chelsea played well. Yes, Arsenal also played badly. So it's a perfect... It was exactly what Chelsea needed for 65 minutes.
Yeah.
Unfortunately,
Longer
that
than
last... Like, the subs for Chelsea maybe
80th
didn't
minute
work.
when they made them subs changed the whole
Is that when
game.
it was, 80?
Bro,
So it might be
Reece
longer
James
than
came-
65.
Reece James come on like
Reece
the
James come on
82nd.
84 a minute before they equalised.
Yeah, and all of that. That's when it
Yeah.
changed.
Yeah.
That was the whole
Maybe,
thing.
so
That-
maybe it's
and-
longer than
and I
65.
think
Well, no,
that's-
when did David Raya? No, sorry, not David Raya. Sanchez, was that around the 74th, 5th minute?
Yeah, I think they scored like,
Oh, what, the
just
first
before
goal?
80, yeah,
So
just
there we
before
go.
the 80,
Do you know what? I'll give him more than 65. Chelsea had a solid 70 minutes, but then even like Cole Palmer, he looked tired. He looked
Yeah.
like he'd run his arse off. I'd be interested to know how many kilometres he actually put in.
No
Yeah.
one expected Cole Palmer to be in the false nine. That's a
No,
fact.
do you know what? That really threw me off. And I thought actually it was a good tactic from Pochettino. I think when you look at Sterling, I think him up against Zinchenko, as we saw in the first half, it worked really well. Zinchenko was not getting in the ball. Zinchenko was not getting the ball in midfield. He was not helping out Declan Rice, where you normally see Zinchenko flourishing in that sort of role.
Raheem also chases
Raheem-
back very well,
Yeah,
though.
chases
Always
back.
has done.
But Raheem got him booked in the first half. Zinchenko ended up getting booked in the first half. Got subbed at the second half because I think I've noticed that as well. When Arteta has one of his wing backs in a yellow card, he takes them off because I think he feels like they impact the way they're going to play.
Yeah.
So Zinchenko didn't have a great game. Sterling played on the right. You then obviously had Cole Palmer interchanging going into the false nine role. And I feel like out of the whole attackers, if you're going to tell me someone I feel like is the most versatile forward or most comfortable on the ball, you know, can retain it, flick it off, keep the ball, that is Cole Palmer. Raheem Sterling has played there sometimes for City, but I look at Cole Palmer and I think, you know, Phil Foden, it reminds me, I remember 2 years ago, or a year and a half ago, Phil Foden had a stint at Man City where he went into like the false nine role. In some big away games.
Before Haaland.
Before Haaland, and some big away games. And I was like, right, him and
Very
KDB,
selfless.
him and KDB were working out well. You know, he was being very much for the team. And Cole Palmer did that yesterday, and I've got to respect Chelsea because I think Chelsea actually impressed neutral fans as well looking at the game much more than we expected because they're beaten Fulham, they're beaten Burnley, but we already said it. This was the real test for them. And to be fair, up to 80 minutes, they came through that test, but mentally, the goal from which obviously Sanchez and Gallagher mixed up, they just seemed to like revert back to like their old demons, and they just couldn't find that control and everything. But for up to 80 minutes,
I've got a whole new conversation to have with you lot. By the way, I thought I'd dig deep into it.
Got someone
Zinchenko.
pregnant?
Oh, yeah, I wish. Well, I wouldn't mind having you. Zinchenko. The new conversation is I'm gonna get slaughtered for this, but I don't care. Overrated, 100 million%. I looked into his stats at City. You'd think he played every game. The guy at City, by the way, didn't play more than 20 games per season in the Prem. No more than. Speak on it, Daps. 15 games the season before he left. Before that, 19. Before that,
he's never been a key player.
So why are we putting him on a pedestal
hold on.
somewhere
Maybe
when he
I'll
gets ripped by wingers all the time?
Right, so here's my thing.
Overrated. Doesn't mean he's not good though.
Right, so if you were to look at the 20 games he played for City, though, if it's 20, I swear it's more than that. But
Many
anyway,
of them off the bench as well.
Anyway, it's
including
business.
bench?
It's business end of the season. Look, you got to remember Zinchenko's time at City was Zinchenko and Cancelo, both on the left. Yeah, right. Cancelo always fired the start of the season and then always dropped off business end. Zinchenko came in and stepped up business end of the season, right? For me, defensively, he was the better of the two out of Cancelo and Zinchenko, but neither of them were good defensively. I'm not having Zinchenko good defensively. Like Zinchenko, even I think when he moved to Arsenal, there was talk that at times he might be playing in a central midfield role because that's where he plays for Ukraine. He plays in the central midfield role. He's not a defender. He's another one like not Delap, like
Dallo?
No, it's City. Went Everton afterwards.
When Everton, where from left back or right back?
No, he's a centre mid again.
Delph, yeah.
He's another one like Delph that is, and Cancelo's a right back. All of our left backs over the years have been people that have been converted to play there, and none of them have ever been that good defensively because
Yeah.
they're not defenders. But
Do you think it's one of them ones then when we look at it with Zinchenko? When Zinchenko plays against teams that you know you're going to dominate the ball, like Sheffield United, they got a home this
Yeah,
weekend.
he'll look great.
You can play him there because he'll look
Yeah,
great.
yeah.
But when you're talking about playing in these big games or these
wingers
big away
against
games,
him.
do you think Arsenal should be looking
Look-
at another left back? Actually, let's throw it out there. If you don't forget, at the start of the season, it was bloody Timber playing there.
Yeah,
yeah,
Preseason
yeah, yeah.
Timber,
Oh, bro,
commercial
that's why-
Timber,
it's why they-
and Timber was absolutely
No,
cooking.
Look, that's why we have to remember that they brought in Timber,
Yeah.
and for me, when Timber got injured, I was saying I expect them to go into the market because if he's out for the
Yeah.
whole season, even more so when they got rid of Tierney, because it was like,
Mm.
so you actually haven't got,
Another natural left back.
yeah. I would say the one thing with Zinchenko is he's not a left back, so if he comes up against a winger, yeah, he will have trouble at times. That's not what Zinchenko does.
Yeah.
So that's why it surprised me they didn't hit the market.
But do you think then that?
But
that,
I think the other thing for Arsenal to play their football, I think they need Partey in that team.
That's
and
what I
they
was
need
gonna come to.
They need Partey and Zinchenko
because
together.
they work together and
Yeah,
Zinchenko
yeah.
plays his best football with him, and then Odegaard is allowed to do his thing further forward. Because again, we saw Saka was
Well,
anonymous.
actually, it would have been.
Odegaard was-
Actually last season. It would have been Zinchenko, Partey, and Shaka.
yeah,
on
Xhaka,
the
But that's why I say he's
and
not. For me, they put him on a pedestal, and even we have put him on a pedestal to make
I
him out
have.
to be something that he isn't.
I think
He's
he's
a very,
decent,
very
but
good
I've never
footballer.
put him high.
He's a very good footballer.
Yeah,
I'm not saying he's crap.
Footballer, not
Yeah.
left back.
Yeah, he's a very good footballer. But when it comes to these big conversations, but I'm thinking big games, yeah, I can't have someone like that in my team.
Yeah,
I'll be
yeah.
honest. If I'm thinking of champion and stuff, unless you got certified ballers all around that can
Yeah.
also
But
nitpick around it.
in his hold on, in his defence though, right? Like I get it, you're gonna say, but he only played 20
Minimal
games for
games.
City. But
That was managed.
hold on, but bro, I can tell you now, like the PSG in I think it was the semi-final or the quarter-final,
Oh, he bossed it.
absolutely bossed it on the left.
Is that
yeah.
the one where Jesus said he came off for the false nine?
No,
Was that the game?
He's had a
But
few
he'll-
good
he
games,
will
but
al-
then business end of the season for City, he's been there, yeah. So and that is, if I'm going to tell you, like I always do on all the other shows, that the best City is business end of the season. The business end of the season was never Cancelo; it was Zinchenko. So
Yeah.
when it's mattered, I think in the right system, Zinchenko works.
Yeah,
Yeah,
of course he does.
that's why last season with Xhaka with Partey,
Yeah.
it cooks. But for whatever reason, at the moment, maybe when Partey's not playing, it's not cooking.
This is the
and that's
thing.
because I don't know what it
Yeah,
is. It's
no,
just,
but
Well,
this is the
we
thing.
can talk
This-
about Partey all
yeah,
we want
this is
though,
what-
but then we're doing a disservice to Chelsea because if we're doing a
Yeah.
disservice, we're saying, oh,
Yeah.
they played badly, but because Chelsea.
no,
Yeah.
Chelsea
That's
also
because
played
Chelsea
well.
played good. That's
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
of know,
Yeah.
as my man call him XL bully got dog and all that
Yeah.
kind of stuff. So, oh yeah, you know what? Talking about that, talk to me nicely about who you're gonna put in your best 11
Gallagher
now.
had a good
Aye.
game, very much off the ball, very much off the
aye,
ball, winning the
aye,
game,
what do you
winning the
mean?
ball back.
Oh,
everything.
Cass, listen. If it could have been
XL
2-1.
bully.
Could have been 2-1 if it wasn't for Gallagher because Gallagher was at fault.
You
for
know what I
one of
mean? With the goal, Sanchez.
I mean, Sanchez should be
passed it.
more aware as well at the
Both
same
of
time.
them, both
Both
of
of
them.
them,
But
both
Gallagher's
of them.
standing still like a
Gallagher's
man.
good though.
But-
Gallagher's
But
good.
the truth is,
Go on.
when we look at obviously Arsenal, they're the ones that are going to be looking for the title this year. You know, Jorginho starting in midfield for me, that did bother me, and I saw a lot of Arsenal fans coming out and crucifying Arteta for that one because
What, the
obviously,
same guy
Jorginho's-
that played
I'm
well
not
against
saying that.
City?
I'm not saying, by the way, that
Not all games
there's
are the
there's
same.
two different things. I'm not saying that Arsenal would have been amazingly different if Partey was on a pitch. I'm not trying to say that. However, for me, just in terms of being if I was an Arsenal fan and I'm looking into a big game, that is the game where you play Thomas Partey. You're up against an Enzo midfield with Caicedo, who was brilliant again, and you just play your best players
Yeah.
for the biggest games. And at the end of the day, Jorginho is not better than Thomas Partey. Play Thomas Partey in that position because you know when he's fully fit, the passing through the lines, how he allows Odegaard to do his thing. I think Arsenal missed the trick there.
So-
And I'm not saying they would have won the game with him, but they would have definitely been a bit more better on controlling on the ball, more physical as well, because they lost every single duel. It was literally like watching year
Swear down.
7s versus year 11s. That's how I felt. I thought Chelsea were much hungrier, wanted it on the
Yeah.
ball. And for
I
me,
think-
I have to question Arteta there. He needs to start playing Thomas Partey. What is he
Yeah,
doing?
what's
yes,
going
he
on
can
there?
overthink and say, oh, do you know what, at the start of the season, we'll play these different formations to try out people because they want solutions to other games later on in the season.
Yeah.
But it was Chelsea away, first game back after the international break, Thomas Partey fit, and you did not play him.
So, and I guess the fact he played both games for Ghana.
Must play, yeah, he played for Ghana.
Right.
I'm sure he did.
What fitness?
So, fitness should be fine.
Backfilling Daps. I just
Um,
don't get it.
Do you think it's because Arteta is having Rice in the 6. He don't want Rice in the 8.
He played Rice in the 8 in the
He
first
did,
half.
yeah, he did, yeah.
Then he
Oh,
dropped.
my
yeah.
bad, because
There you
Jorginho was on
go.
the pitch.
So it makes it even worse that he didn't play Partey. Exactly,
Yeah,
bro.
yeah,
Arteta
yeah.
has just got it wrong. Arteta,
Listen, I don't know.
you've got it wrong.
I mean, for me, it's something that we've said a lot on the channel with Havertz and whatever, that Havertz should not be in the best midfield.
Oh my word! You'd think yesterday Havertz probably done a better job than Jesus up front. Just
Yeah,
for holding the ball up,
yeah,
just
yeah.
because of that
Jesus
alone.
that's what I mean, though. That's where you have to look at this performance from Arsenal. And you are right. I don't want this to come across that I'm not giving Chelsea credit. I think Chelsea, even if you were to talk, especially in, like I said, for 70, 75 minutes, Chelsea were good, man. But
Fantastic.
Arsenal off the boil. Like, there were.
Yeah.
There's
I
things,
think-
even when you say about Jesus just not looking the
Can't
same.
lie, though.
Rice was quiet. Last 20, Rice stepped up, but
Yep.
Rice was quiet.
They all were.
Odegaard was quiet. There
Again-
were, and sometimes, you
yeah.
know what? It's fine. People have a bad day at the office, and it was one of them games where I'm looking at thinking, I think you summed it up. The most important thing going into any game is who wants it more, and Chelsea looked like they wanted
They
it
did
more.
more. They did.
Yeah,
Even,
100
and
million
even when it was
percent.
2-1,
$1,000,000%.
Chelsea still looked like. I remember saying to you, it looks like Chelsea are trying to look for a third more than Arsenal are looking for a
Yeah,
second.
yeah, you
Yeah,
said that
yeah.
during the game.
It's true.
And another conversation as well, yeah, before you add your point is, bro, now you've got another headache with Ryan Ramsdale.
Yeah,
Yet
that's
again,
becoming a
already.
headache now.
So when
Yeah,
I say
yeah.
about my
When you
ex
said
side, yeah,
Ramsdale,
my 11s,
Boona Lee was
yeah.
saying about he wants Ramsdale in. To be fair, if Ramsdale had made the errors that Raya made in the last couple of games and stuff like that,
Crucifixion, mate.
he would be getting it. And I do agree with what someone said in terms of when you look at Ramsdale, because he's got that aura that winds up opposition fans. He's a bit of a character. It makes him a bit more in the limelight, that when he makes errors, it's like, oh, you act like that. But
He'd
the
be up
bottom line
more.
is-
He'd be more up for the game than I think. Right looks like
Yeah.
he curled up
He
into
just-
a ball and into
yeah.
his own
And
motion.
even when he was playing against Man City and Arteta said, oh, yeah, it was part of the plan to keep the ball and stuff like that and make him wait, he was still nervous on the ball for me. That's what it looked like. At the moment, I'll say Ramsdale comes in for the Champions League game. But let's see. The main question I wanted to ask...
Yeah, that's a.
that-
You know what? That is. It gives them a really good time to make the change.
Yeah, it does.
And I mean, look, you saw with City, Ortega started.
Yeah.
So-
Edison travelling back.
but is that what it was?
Yeah.
Ah, I didn't know that. So because Edison
travel back.
Right,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
But I think with Arsenal at the moment, the fact that it is now a Champions League, he can go, do you know what? Yeah. No one's, I mean, unfortunately, because it's Arsenal, people will still go, oh, does this mean? But ultimately, it could be, no, it's a different competition. So I'm just trying a
It's a
different
good
keeper.
excuse that he's got a reason now to make the change and see how Ramsdale gets
But
on.
I think it's one of those ones where Raya is not looking as comfortable as Ramsdale did.
No.
Like, I'm sorry, I get
Do
Raya.
you
I'm
think
not
he's
trying to say
feeling that-
Raya.
do you feel like the pressure of like,
Maybe.
I'm actually at a big club now?
Maybe. But look, Ramsdale, I've heard a lot of people speak on it, and I think you can see it in interviews. Ramsdale's a big personality.
Yeah, he is.
Like,
And he
Ramsdale's
struggled with
joined.
this. He's admitted he struggled with this.
Of course he has,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
but he's
Arteta
someone
pulled him
that
out.
when he
Sancho
arrived.
treatment.
I think when Ramsdale arrived at Arsenal, he didn't look like he was struggling with the pressure.
Nah, he
whereas,
like he wanted it.
whereas I do think with Raya, to a certain extent, it does look like he's
Yeah,
struggling with
and
the
it,
pressure.
it does happen when you're a big club. Guys, make sure you're liking this video, by the way. Make sure you're subscribing to all the content on Never a Foul. My last question before we do wrap it up then. I'll go to Cass first, then Daps, and then me. In regards to Arsenal, right now as we look at it, are they in a better position than they were last season or worse?
I think this just reminds. They had one chance to pull away that further again from City at the start of the season, and they bottled it. But at the same time, you can't. I can't sit and say they're not in the conversation still. I think they're still in a better place defensively. I just think they need to let their front three play together again. Let them cook, and let's see where it goes from there.
Fair, good.
Again, if it is a bad day in the office, then the next game against Sheffield and so forth, it will show.
Yeah.
For me, it's an absolute no-brainer. They're in a better place than they were last season. Squad-wise, Arsenal have impact off the bench. Right? 100% they have impact off the bench. Secondly, some of the Declan Rice, straight away. Declan Rice solo. They're in a better place because they've got Declan Rice, right?
Yeah.
I can straight away tell you now, yesterday he scored, right? And when he scored, did you see how he was trying to get everyone up for it? Thirdly, even the Community Shield against us, like you can pinpoint moments where he has earned them something, right? And thirdly, if not for any other reason why they're in a better place than last season, is they took 3 points off of us. They didn't last season, so...
Yeah.
No, I think-
I want to say, on last night, I want to say big up to certain key players because they didn't get no mentions. Malagusto, wicked against Martinelli.
Yeah.
Thiago Silva, wicked.
Cold.
Cold.
Proves why.
Yeah.
Do you know what? Just really quickly on him. I've seen a little bit of criticism on him, yeah.
Can't
and
play in the back four.
I do understand. Like, yes, he is not the player he was.
Yeah, of course.
3-4 years ago,
39,
right?
before-
He's
Yeah,
39,
mental.
But
Crazy.
Amazing professional.
that's mad.
Yeah.
I actually said 3-4 years ago. I should have been saying 10 years ago. But I'm saying he's not the player he was
Yeah.
3-4
Yeah.
years
I know,
ago,
shows
right?
how good he's been.
But still, sometimes it shows it. And Fernandinho's last season at us, sometimes it's just the positioning and the reading of the
Yeah,
game when you're that
Yeah.
age.
The
is just
intelligence.
Also big up Marco Correa, who had everyone
Very
thought
good,
that
yeah.
Saka
Yeah.
was gonna go twist up. Big up Galadag for me. I'm not
I
I
gonna.
think Caicedo's going
I
well
think
under the radar.
I think
he's
Kaiser
still-
for me he dropped off, so I'm not gonna big him up or
Okay,
Enzo.
fair.
I think Enzo done actually quite well to be fair. He had Rice's number for me. Sterling, Cole Palmer, and you know what?
And
I
Cole
know you was
Palmer.
there.
He
Mudryk
didn't play the best, but Mudryk wasn't
Yeah.
the best performance. But guess what?
worked hard.
He worked hard. He
Yeah.
done what mattered and looked more mature
Yeah.
than his recent
Him and
performances.
Cucurella had that.
So that's
left-hand
pretty
side
much
look.
their whole
Yeah,
team
it's-
nearly.
Yeah.
But you
It's,
know what I mean? Robert Sanchez though.
it's
Nah.
Cole Palmer, Cold Palmer, Gold Palmer.
There we go. There we go. I think it was a very good game of football as well. I think it's set up Chelsea well for their next big run of games. We always said that, styles make fights. And I feel like Chelsea could now go into these big games with confidence and maybe take some points with other teams because they've had to play teams where they've sat back more. Now teams are going to come at them a bit more. They might actually get a bit of space in behind. And with Arsenal, to wrap it up, I think they're in a better place as well. I think when you touch on them, good points there. Depth off the bench, Declan Rice in there. And also, most importantly, I'm going to say, they're unbeaten at the moment. And I think over 10 games or whatever it is. And they're still not clicked
Nine.
in
So
gear
can
yet.
I just say
Fair
one
enough.
thing I really want to happen this season? Really want to happen so badly. I want Arsenal to go unbeaten all season
To lose.
and finish second or third, right? Because then the whole invincible thing will be done.
That'd be wiped out, innit? Yeah, it's interesting. They haven't clicked into gear. They're still unbeaten. They're still fighting for the top of the table. So, yes, I do think they're in a better position. But I think one thing you said as well, with Martinelli now back, with Saka touch and go at the moment, Jesus, let's see if they can get their fluid front three back firing again. Because at the moment, they haven't seen it this season. But, guys, that has been the Chelsea-Arsenal breakdown on a few key points there. Let us know your thoughts as well in the chat. Make sure you're liking the video. Make sure you're subscribing. And we'll see you on the other side.